Good morning everyone and welcome back. I hope you're all having a really nice day so far. So today I have decided to begin this job here, my dining area. So we used to have a dining table across the back here that got used very much as like a dumping ground. We never sat at it, so now it needs to become a useful area. We got rid of the table and I want to set it up as a more useful space. So because this area is now pretty much empty, you can see that things have started to get dumped here, and I want that to stop. So I've decided that this week is going to be the week we start to deal with this chaos over here. So I'm going to be making, I think, probably two videos. One video will be the actual dining area itself, which will be this video, and another video will be decluttering under here because there's a lot going on under there. So this area under here is going to be completely revamped eventually, but there's no way I can even begin to do any kind of revamp until this lot is cleared. This has been sat like this, honestly, if I'm very honest. It's been like this for a couple of years. I think the fact that it's not closed in, it's all open, and that we have this lovely big space on top of here has meant that everything that doesn't have a home has ended up under here. Most of it, I will admit, is my old kind of craft supplies, paperwork. My makeup bits are here because I tend to have my makeup and stand at this mirror to apply it. So I really need to kind of reorganise this chaos into a little bit of a better place. I'm going to try and attach a picture in here that's going to show you what I want this to look like eventually. But anyway, I'm getting off track. That's another video. That's a separate one. This one is not getting done today, but this here is. So the only thing that I want to remain here is the treadmill. The treadmill used to be over here and it was very much in the way there. So I've moved it here so it can have its own particular space. And then behind the sofa here, we have an issue of this sofa keeps sliding backwards. Every time someone sits on it, excuse the laundry, it slides backwards. So I want to move that unit there that's by the window. I want to move that to behind here. I think it's going to look a lot nicer there. Certainly it's going to be more accessible there as well, and it's going to stop the sofa from sliding back, and then that means that I can move little George in his cage over to this corner so that we can access the curtains and the windows a little bit easier for drawing the curtains at night and opening the windows, things like that. Plus George, although he's an Australian finch, does not like strong sunlight. So the fact that he will be in the corner more as summer's coming in, because this is the south facing window, means he's going to get a lot more shade. So he will also be happier. So it's actually going to be perfect for everyone. So I'm going to set you up on a tripod and I'm going to start just clearing this stuff out of here. Like I say, the only thing that's going to be staying is the treadmill. The awning that's going up in the back garden, someone's coming to build that relatively soon. So I might just shift it for now to the bottom of the stairs, just so it's out of the way while I'm doing this bit. But that's not going to be going up just yet, but very soon. I will show you when that goes up. Sorry, I've got a really sore throat today, I'm not sure why. And then this air conditioning unit will have to stay here just for now. Eventually, when I've decluttered and revamped under here, it will have its own particular space here next to the tumble dryer where it can live, because in all honesty, this gets used for maybe 2 or 3 weeks of the year when it gets very, very hot, which apparently it has no intention of doing anytime soon. So we do use it, but it's so rare that we use it. It needs to have a home where it can sit for the rest of the time, and not be in the way, like its own personal home. So that will have to stay here for now. But all the rest of this is my memory box. That's another video that's coming up soon. I'll be making this into a much nicer memory box. This lamp needs to go in the bin. Some of my old craft supplies, some old bits and bobs here. And then I'm going to clean and shampoo the carpet. I'm going to clean all of the cladding, batten board, whatever you want to call it. And then we are going to move that unit here. Hopefully I can get this all done by the end of today, but I've also got tomorrow off as well, so might be a 2-day job. But yeah, let's get going with it. Okay, so job 1 for today was to pick up and clear up all of the stuff that is currently sitting dumped in the dining area. First thing I wanted to get out of the way was the awning, which was unnecessarily heavy and very difficult to move, but I did eventually manage to stash that at the bottom of the stairs ready for the guy to come and build. I will not be building that myself. Normally I love a bit of flat pack, but that was quite expensive, and like I say, it's really heavy and it's going to need a fair amount of room, I think, to stretch it out and actually build it properly. So I have decided to delegate that little job to somebody else. So for now it's sitting at the bottom of the stairs, out of the way. The ladder I'm just moving to one side because I'm going to need it in a minute to clean the top of the panelling. And there's a couple of pictures there of the kids that I need to find places for. I'm wanting to change the picture frames and some of the pictures around, so a lot of them are off the wall at the moment. Sorry if you can hear that motorbike. It's my very loud and very annoying neighbour who loves to wait for me to be recording voiceovers before whizzing off on his motorbike. So yeah, they're going to be getting changed out soon, so they're all off the walls at the moment. So next bit I'm going to be addressing is my memory box, which has had other bits and bobs dumped in it. I am now at a point where the craft bits that I decluttered towards the beginning of the year are now even that feeling like too much, which is absolutely the way I wanted to go. So I'm going to go through and do another declutter on those, and possibly get rid of what I have remaining. The 3 projects that I left myself when I did my declutter, I'm down to 2 now. I made one of the books and now I have 2 left, and I'm not sure I still want to do them. So it might be that will all go. Certainly these 2 die cutters that I'm dealing with now are going to be rehomed. They're quite expensive and I'm sure somebody will want them. There's lots of people around here who do paper crafts, so I'm sure I can probably rehome those. So I'm just popping them to one side for now, just so that we've got this whole area spaced out. So I'm just going around and picking up all the bits and bobs, and at this point in the project I'm now contemplating where I want that unit. I did want it behind the sofa, to stop the sofa moving more than anything, to stop the sofa moving, and to give us something nice to look at when we're coming through from the kitchen into the lounge. But now that this space underneath the clock is open, I'm not so sure. I think what I'm going to do is pop it behind the sofa, leave it there for a week or so, see what I think, and then I'm going to move it to underneath the clock here and leave it there for a week or 2 and see what I think, because I think it's going to look a lot more natural underneath the clock, but it's going to have more of a purpose behind the sofa. So you'll see later on in the video that it does get put behind the sofa, and I don't mind it there, but I really would like to try it under the clock as well and maybe figure something out. My initial plan was behind the sofa so that I've got room in the corner by the radiator for my Christmas tree come December. and then I was going to put maybe like a nice chaise or something like that underneath the clock so that we can have somewhere to kind of sit and read. Lots of us in the house are avid readers, and it would be nice to sit and have somewhere comfortable, kind of away from the busy area of the lounge, to sit and maybe read a book. I mean, that potentially that could go behind the sofa as well. So it might be that this will get rejigged later on in the year, later on in the month even. It might just keep moving around and be like a constantly changing and evolving space. But yeah, I was doubting my decisions at this point in the video. I also discovered by this point that there was a lot more cleaning involved than I had given myself credit for. What's it called? The batten board, the bits on the wall, which for the life of me I can't remember the name of now. Panelling, there we go, was a lot more dusty than I thought it was. I'd gone over this relatively recently as well, and it's kind of rough. So the boards are MDF, painted MDF, which I did prime and I did sand before I put them up, but the edges are still really rough, and so when you're kind of wiping along with a cloth to get the dust off of them, it's kind of catching. So I might have to get some sandpaper and give it another sand and repaint it again so that it's not so difficult to dust, because there's quite a lot of it and I don't want to be stood here for half my life dusting it particularly. Next up, I wanted to clean the radiator. If you guys have seen my home tour video that I did a month or so ago, you'll know that I'm planning on popping a radiator cover cabinet thing over this so that I can utilise shelf space above the radiator. So I did do some further research into that and discovered that not a single pre-manufactured radiator cover is tall enough to cover these radiators. For some reason they're really, really high on the wall. They come about halfway up the wall, so I'm going to have to build my own, so that could be a fun little adventure for another video. But for now I'm just giving it a clean. Lots of spiders had moved into this horrible kind of pipework mess underneath it. This certainly will be getting boxed in because these are always dirty. As you can see right now, they're really dusty and it's almost like a kind of greasy dust. It's been there for a little longer than I would care to admit. I very rarely clean these pipes. I'll be honest, maybe once a year, twice a year at most, I'll clean these pipes. I just, out of sight, out of mind. Things tend to get put in front of them, I don't see them, I don't clean them. But certainly I will be boxing them in, because not only are the pipes themselves dirty, but the skirting board behind and under them is dirty, and I can't get to it because the pipes are in the way. So definitely that will be getting boxed in. So I'm now dealing with a couple of grease marks on the carpet. So at the beginning of last year, we had our kitchen redone, and the contractors, in their infinite wisdom, would move the cooker out and pop it in the lounge. Now obviously the cooker feet were dirty and we didn't realise, and they marked the carpet. So I actually got a kind of ground cover sheet, which I understand later on from the company who hired them they should have put down in the first place. But it did leave grease marks on the carpet, which I've been trying to get up for a while, and I eventually got some kind of Vax pre-treat stuff, and it seems to have done the job. I'm also going to go over it with my spot wash later on, but for now I'm just going to hoover it really quickly, and then I'm going to go over it with the big Vax Platinum Smart Wash and see what that does. The Smart Wash, for some reason today, decided it wasn't really going to pick up all that well. It was picking up water, don't get me wrong, but it left the carpets really, really wet this time, and it didn't have very much in the dirty water reservoir, which is making me think that when I did the deep clean on it, I might not have put it back together properly. So I will break that out again next week and just make sure that that is actually the case and that it's not broken and requiring someone to come and have a look at it. I mean, it did the job all right, it still washed okay, but I did have to go around on my hands and knees with the little mini spot wash afterwards, just to pick up some of the excess water that it left on the carpets. And the carpets were dry within an hour, so it was all well and good. But I did get very soggy knees. So yeah, the carpet washing, as you can see, you can see that it's picking up the dirt, and you can see that little patch that's lighter. That's where I have gone over those oil marks and just cleared it up. The carpet itself is not actually lighter there as it looks in the video. It's just because the stain removal stuff that I used is kind of foamy, and there's a lot of it in the carpet. The Smart Wash didn't pick that up very well either, so I went over it with the Spot Wash and it came up fine and is now matching with the rest of the carpet. Successfully managed to get rid of those stains that I've been looking at for a year and a bit, thinking they're never going to come up. I have finally managed to get them up, and I'm really happy about it. Okay, so here we go. This is as far as I've got today. I've got all this clear and clean. My walking pad down there, just folded up for the time being. I might take the handlebar off permanently because I don't run on it, I walk. But this needs to be near the socket so I can plug it in, so it's there for now. And then my husband helped me to move the unit here. I don't mind it, I don't know, I feel like it might be a little bit big for there. So it might be that when I move it over here, it might do better, but then I wouldn't be able to put my Christmas tree there. But maybe I could put my Christmas tree where that is, behind the... I don't know, I'll figure that out at Christmas. But anyway, we've kind of half styled it. Excuse the crud in the background. The second I work on one area of the house, the rest of it falls spectacularly to pieces, as Bridget Jones would say. So my son and I have kind of just staged it best we can for the time being. I might get a few bits that are like specific for here. The things that I definitely want on here is my globe that my son got for me, my digital photo frame, and Mr. Prickles, my aloe. There's nowhere else for it. I don't know though if I'm going to be keeping that plant. It's growing a bit wild, and if I can get the right angle, it's kind of grown really bendy and I can't get it to straighten. So it might be Mr. Prickles will go, but a different plant will go here if that's the case. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. And then over on the other side of the room, past the laundry and the hoover and the empty box. So now over here we have this little corner unit. So you can see where the unit was. I didn't finish painting, so I've got to do that as well. I've got this little corner unit that's got my plant, my smart meter, my little cactus. It might be a bit dark for it there, but I can swap it with one of my fake plants if necessary. And then I've got my virgin box and my router down here. And then little George, he's a lot happier over here because he hasn't got the sun on him. Hey baby, he's sweetie pop. Oh, he's shy when the camera comes out. He's such a friendly boy. He will sit and chat to you, but he does not like cameras at all. And then he's got his little mat underneath to protect the carpet and the extension. So one problem I have here is masses of excess cable down here, and a lot of that cable is the Ethernet cable, however you pronounce it from where you are. We had to buy a really long one because the broadband signal from here couldn't reach properly to my son's room through that door there, and he couldn't run his Xbox because he wasn't getting enough signal. So we had to run this Ethernet cable all the way under the carpet, round there, up there, and through his door. But we ended up with all this excess, and because it's Ethernet, we can't just like cut it and reattach the head. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do. I'm thinking of making like a little box or something just to keep those wires in, because this is spider heaven down here, and I know I'm going to get about 1,000 spiders moving, but also it means that the unit's really far out from the wall, which in fairness you can't really tell when you walk in. It's not bad, but I know, and it's making me a little uncomfortable. Another downside is I now have all these plants that used to live on the unit that are now on the windowsill because the light over there is too low for them, and not many of these actually want full sun, which this window gets. So my lovely Tradescantia, I think it's going to go onto the coffee table now. I think that should be all right for it. The geraniums I can probably get away with putting into the garden now. And I always forget what these things are called. My husband bought these home from Tesco's. They were reduced because they're flowering, and once these guys flower they die off. This one's got, I think, 3 little pups, so I'll be able to have babies off that one. But this one, I can't see any pups on it, so this one might take care of itself and just die off. What they're called, I can't remember for the life of me. But anyway, yeah, I've got a few too many plants now, and I'm also starting a little bonsai version of one of the trees that we saw while we were away that I absolutely fell in love with. Can't remember what it's called now. Welcome to the table of death. But I got some seeds. It is a Royal Poinciana. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like this gorgeous red flowering, almost kind of like ferny tree. And I bought some seeds while I was on holiday, and then I realised I couldn't take them on the plane. I couldn't take them through customs. So I had to order some more once I got home. But I really want to have a go at making a little bonsai from some of those. But anyway, I've got off track. This is how the dining room is currently looking. I'm very happy with it so far, although I'm not sure about it being there. I'm going to live with it for a week and then we'll go from there. So next video, dining area wise, will be the declutter of under the stairs. That's probably going to go into the members videos, just because it's not necessarily the kind of thing that everyone wants to see, like a little revamp of this area. So that's probably going to go into the members video, and then I want to find a lovely rug for here, and then that'll be it. So there you go, you guys. I hope you like it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.